Welcome. Here I am, 23 minutes late. It's me, Suze. And you say, well, really, who the hell is Suze? And for somebody that nobody knows, I sure have caused a whole lot of ruckus on the internet. It'd be nice if I could see the camera. I know the mic is on. Mute microphone. No. Turn the camera on. I'd love to. Adjust bandwidth. We have the settings. I know I'm a little silly. You guys will have to excuse me. But, you know, when somebody gets kicked a million times and they expect you to stay down, that's just not really something that I can consent to. I am trying to get my screen up. We'll see what happens. Oh, wow. I'm screen sharing all sorts of stuff that really isn't interesting, is it? Let's stop that. Okay, guys. So, my name is Suze, and you're wondering, who am I? And why am I here doing what I'm doing right now? And really why anybody should care. And for those of you that know me, I dropped off back in September. And I'm going to share with you tonight the story of why I dropped off. And it's just me talking to myself right now. So I love you, Suze, even though you're a crazy woman sometimes to people. They just don't know what you're doing, do they? I wanted to start off by saying that I really have nothing at all to say about the elections or about voting. I'm one of those 42+% of the citizens that live in the United States of America that chose not to vote. And I have to tell you why. I lost faith in the system a long time ago. And, you know, I think these days a lot of people tend to live middle, mediocre kind of lives because they can't deal with the high highs and the low lows. And when I say that, what I mean is that I've had such a blessed journey here. I've been online 28 months now, and I was supposed to live stream tonight on YouTube, and I didn't know how to get my encoder up. So, like I said, I wanted to put this out there into the universe because really here, even though it's a really wild story, the important thing with a love in your heart and with passion, you do manifest reality. And that's my story. So just by speaking again tonight, I'm getting back on the horse with broadcasting since everything happened, like I was saying, in September. And really, this is just November now. So for the few of you that do know me, you probably didn't even miss me. I have over 170 YouTubes on my channel called Suze Pratt 11. And what a plethora of subjects. And that definitely has to do with why I'm here. Now, when I say that I was never online, my entire life until August of 2014. I mean that literally. And it was for a reason. The reason being is because as an artist and a self employed person, I didn't need the internet. And I have so much interaction with servicing the public. I am a small business owner and a holistic stylist. To most people, that's just a dopey hairdresser. But as you'll find, I have a pretty extensive subject matter base of things that I talk about, which here again, I guess has gotten me in trouble just a bit. People are amazed that I know what I know. And some people thought I was maybe a data hacker, somebody that has nothing better to do than to check out other people's shit and then act like it's mine. Everything I do bring is actually from my own experience. And this leads back, unfortunately, to the reason of why people would prefer that I do not really tell my story. There's a lot to be said about it. So, I guess we'll begin by saying, although I lost my faith, in this um, laws of man and the political process and the insanity that I see out there on the street, from the people shoved in the box so hard. I know that there is a really new way and a new time. And since I've been here online, I've watched it. I think that is one of the reasons, here again, why people say, well, why Let me unmute myself, and here I am. I can hear the voice again. I see the green lights. If I could just get a picture up, you guys would know it's me, your buddy Suze. And I am the holistic stylist. I am completely inept on the computer. That's why people think I have absolutely no business speaking, although I do have a lot of experience in life. I've always been the butt of everybody's jokes. I'm an underdog. I've been teased my whole life, and now I get it. It's all about the targeting and all the different experiences that, here again, I am speaking about very loudly, with or without a picture sometimes. And I've invited a few people. Maybe they'll come rescue me. Unfortunately, no one is viewing it yet. I'm really just getting comfortable here again and speaking about what has happened. So let's go back to 2014 when I first came online. The whole purpose of coming online was to get into the 21st century with a 30-year business called the Hair Emporium, which is my baby. I mean, literally, I opened it before I was legal to drink. Took it very seriously. And of course, here again, the love of the client, the love of the person, the friendship that's involved, the reason for living. And, at first, I was surely mocked because I hadn't been online yet, and it's what, 2013 when this all started, long before I actually engaged the computer. And so I'm coming to you from Ferguson, Missouri. And they wanted me to get on their city website. And of course, we're going to talk a lot about the targeting tonight. From the time I got here, they told me I'd never be able to open. And I mean, we're not talking about a swank location. We're talking about the ghetto in St. Louis, Missouri. And, sometimes when an area goes down, and they will limit certain things like, check cashing places or alcohol-related businesses because they want to keep things as safe as possible. Well, in Ferguson, the most dangerous thing you can run into is a hairdresser. And so, when I brought myself online and the gal that didn't want me here says, well, I can't believe you know how to even type. And I said, well, I'm surely not a moron. I just didn't choose to be online. I had 4 years of secretarial and business training before I ever opened my small salon. And of course, the reason I opened the Hair Emporium back in '85 was simply because if I didn't, I had no freedom with how I chose to do hair or interact with my clients. And to me, that is a complete slave relationship, and I wasn't going to have that. I wasn't going to be told what products to use or how I would dress or what would come out of my mouth. With hairdressing, we're always taught you never speak about sex, politics, or religion. And it is very against etiquette. We should really just talk about things that really don't matter. Let's just talk gossip and bullshit. And that has never been my MO. So here I come online, and the next thing you know, I'm accused of being a data hacker or maybe an artificial intelligence. I know way too much. I talk about too many things, and who the hell cares? Well, I do. Because, of course, the main reason I was talking in the beginning was talking about a business. Well, then the next thing you know, I'm talking about Mike Brown being slain in Ferguson. And I'm talking about my experience since I've come to live here in Ferguson. I'm also talking about my entire life growing up in North St. Louis County. I'm sharing things that people can't believe, like, say, manifest phenomena or having interactions that are deep and meaningful on the computer, and watching myself come into a group of people that I never knew before in my life, but are actually really awesome people. And I've appreciated that along the way. But back in September, you see, I quit broadcasting with a group called Conscious Consumer Network. They are out of the Netherlands. It's supposed to be alternative media, free and independent media. And of course, I believe in those things. And so, how even does someone like me that nobody knows wind up broadcasting, you ask? And that's really a good question. But what happened was in December of 2015, I was interviewed by somebody that many people know and love by the name of Randy Moggins. And he was broadcasting through Conscious Consumer Network at that time. And the next thing you know, Mel and Biggie were asking me if I would like to have my own show on Conscious Consumer Network. Now, this sounded really good. And I'll tell you the reason why is because I had already been broadcasting on YouTube. And, when I started on YouTube, my goodness, I was on a little tablet and terrible audio reception, but it was all about the message, And so Randy had been observing me in the background from early on with my YouTube channel. And, since this is so real to me, I really expect that everybody else knows exactly how real it is that has been involved in this journey. But it's been a humbling experience because just like I'm the center of my universe, I completely respect the fact that every one of you are the center of your universe. And that's exactly the way it should be. A lot of people believe that to be what they call selfish. But I disagree with that. Because if you are not able to love yourself and to understand your story and what has happened with your experiences in this world, then how are you ever gonna understand or even care about anybody else? And how do you learn to love unconditionally when there's very few situations where that happens? So those are the kind of subjects that I bridged on my live show called Sophia's Emporium on the Conscious Consumer Network. And I broadcast there from January of 2016 until September when I blew Dodge. Now, why did I blow Dodge? That's definitely coming up in the story. And this is the first time that I am publicly speaking about this. So it really would be nice if I could bring my face up to be fully accountable. But for anybody that wants to know who I am, I do use my real name. I didn't make up a identity when I came online. My real name is Susanna Pratt. And I knew that every word that I typed and everything I said would be searched. I'm not special. Everybody has this same grace given to them right now. I often make jokes. I know a lot of people were raised Catholic, and I like to tell people that interacting with the computer is similar to a confessional booth. So here you have this internet, and I know most of us realize that it started out as a World War II spy tool, but it's pretty cool to know that there is an intelligence, a divine creator above and beyond anything that we can imagine that can actually use this internet for purpose and for good and for love. And so I've been very, very blessed. But at the same time, oh my gosh, to get attacked by the Conscious Consumer Network, that whole thing is a nightmare from hell. So I think we're going to talk about that because it all starts there. So I start broadcasting in January, and by the end of February, early March, they had dreamed up this journalism academy. And of course, they had never done it before. And in order to broadcast on the Conscious Consumer Network, you see, you must have a World Wide Web. And so this goes back to the original mocking of myself because my dumbass didn't have a World Wide Web page and I hadn't paid anybody to do it as of yet. So poof, the next thing you know, here I am with this web page going up, and it's going to cost me $3,000 because it's going to be the coolest web page in the world, you see. And of course, I needed the coolest web page in the world because the purpose goes back to the original concept of me bringing my salon online in a global format as a holistic stylist where I could help people. I felt like that was very important because without that, how can I, here again, do what I need to do? And I've lost myself again. Let's get rid of that screen so I can see my blank space. And yes, I'm still here. You know, I keep trying to think I can get my picture up, but as long as the words are going out, man, everything is cool. It says this page is accessing my camera and microphone. But here again, I just don't see that I'm working with a camera right now. Of course, I got used to that on Conscious Consumer Network, and I could watch what was happening. So, back to that. $250 for Journalism Academy. And talk about a flip and rip off, man. The first night of Academy, I was shown WikiLeaks. Now, I want to tell you something about me. I'm not going to be dicking around on WikiLeaks. Not that it's a bad thing, but I've got a whole library upstairs, and anything that I've talked about, I actually know about from experience. So I would simply go to my library, pull out the book that I've learned from, and proceed to incorporate it into a show. That got me in just a little bit of trouble, and I guess it was because maybe Mel thought I was a know-it-all or a smartass. It's hard to say what people think about me. It's sometimes it can be a love-hate thing. Here again, back to why did this happen to me, and who the hell am I, and how do I do what I do? I've been answering to that my whole life. Thus, the 170 YouTube channels or videos at my YouTube channel. 170 in 13 months. And let me just tell you a little about the subject matter. I broke it down tonight, actually went to the YouTube channel, and I guess one of the biggest things that I'm known for is speaking about the super sensible and the supernatural, Rudolf Steiner, spirituality, and of course the phenomena that I've been involved with ever since September 1st, 2014, when I definitely had a direct interactive experience with this computer. So I have over a dozen YouTubes here that would speak to that in every aspect. And maybe we'll read them later, we'll see. Then we have who the fuck am I and what is my experience? And so this whole little section proves, verifies, and documents the fact that you could consider me to be a targeted individual. Now, some people get really pissed off that they are or aren't targeted. All of humanity, my friends, are targeted per se. It's just basically at different levels. So for someone to claim the old ignorance is bliss story, you see, they wouldn't know that they were targeted, and they would just think life's supposed to be a big shithole. That isn't what life's supposed to be, in my experience and in my opinion. Now, like I said, I come from a very, very odd background, and you know, you can look up Ortiz, whatever you want, the last name Glasscock, Glascock. And the Glasscocks have a long story here in the Americas that's very mysterious and has been whitewashed from history. Their coat of arms goes back to the old country and back to Scotland. And basically, I've been told that in the oldest of days, my kin built the stained glass windows that were in the churches going up all across the old country in Europe. I can only imagine we were the outcast then too. Surely artists, but maybe not down with the program or in the box. Maybe we were looking through a multicolor reality and actually left signs. And I think that's why I do what I do. You know, a lot of people talk shit about their past lives. And, you know, they were somebody famous and somebody beautiful and somebody great and all these things. But We have to remember we've been through really, really hard times, and the things huh, that we don't know why we believe what we believe about them, but in the back of our minds, we know they're true. These would be things, if you ask me, that shed light on your experiences, not only in this time, but in a time that goes beyond linear. Um, that's where they get into talking about multidimensional realities, for example. So, back to my targeted family. There was a doctor during the Revolutionary War that was murdered by an aristocrat, and this was 8 years after the United States of America was turned into a corporation. So, if I look at my life and I look at other people in my family that I've been blessed to know their stories, I would have to expect that, yes, my dear Dr. George Glasscock, who was involved in, um, the city politics, let's say, he wasn't sitting on the side that wanted to see the destruction of what this country was allegedly founded on, I guess is a good way to put it. And you can look up the Glasscock family saga and find out more about those things. Now, that's my paternal side. And on my maternal side, my grandfather was the dude that knew all the action going down in World War II at the end of that. Um, Here again, whitewash story. So you see, he was the managing editor of the Custer Combateer. I have his journals. I've read them extensively. Um, he did no secrets. He did send back messages, and he did speak his mind. He was a true scribe, and he hoped that one day his story would be told. And so, here again, another reason for another YouTube, right? Now, we also have the whole story here about Rudolf Steiner and my experience. So, surely from childhood on, I was definitely intuitive. Some would call it psychic, um, dreams, premonitions, the whole 9 yards, really. And it was so terrifying. So, that's why I say, to me, doing what we're doing now in any format is not as scary as the dreams of Hitler and the New World Order and putting you down like an animal at the age of 33, or, whatever Orwellian bullshit that they were pumping through the airwaves even back then to prepare us for a time that we would be seeing and saying, hey, either we're on a fucking cycle here, guys, and this is some kind of a matrix reality, or these things surely had to come to pass before we actually get to the time that we've been promised, where we have a free, moral, ethical society where people become responsible for themselves. And so, of course, surely that makes me sound crazy and arrogant all at once. But, to me, here again, these things must be spoken about. And we have to come to terms with them, because one way or another, we're all dealing with it, whether we know it or not. Okay, now back to it. I'm just a dopey hairdresser, guys, so don't take this too serious. But I take hairdressing very seriously. So the original purpose here again has to do with non-toxic alternative products that include homeopathy and things that God put here on the earth that actually create natural beauty instead of the old fake beauty thing. And, I still sometimes can't believe that I've actually enjoyed being a hairdresser because I'll tell you what, you want to talk about some crazy people and some wild times and some backstabbing and bullshit. Um, when I started off with Journalism Academy, of course, I was told that these experiences out in the real world were nothing compared to, here again, what I would face online. And, really, I call bullshit on that. I think that we make it what it is. And I must, at this point, here again, have no fear, just like all you guys. So don't worry that you're not perfect. Do what you can do. Support what you believe in. I mean, think about what it must be like to take up a cause that will alienate you from friends, from family, from the people that run the show that you may upset. It really could be anything. And so I encourage everyone at this point to have great faith and to not get themselves worked up about things they have no control over. Now, early on in Academy, I could see that maybe this wasn't going to go so good when I learned how to make iMovies really fast and simple because that could have took more time maybe in Academy. I don't know. But shortly after that, what happened was every flippin' Journalism Academy had nothing to do with the art of accurate reporting or informative storytelling. It had to do with the bitch fest of all the people that Mel felt had wronged her, people that had left the network. And by this point, I started seeing broadcasters leaving the network that were there when I came in that I, felt like I resonated with. And I really didn't know what was going on. And surely I didn't want to be paranoid and think it was because of me they were leaving or, something crazy like that because our egos play games with us. And, um, when you're trying to convey an important message and you have a voice like a frog, sometimes people take it as arrogant or blasé or, it could be anything. I mean, people tend to judge instead of have discernment. So, my whole life I was teased about my voice, and maybe that was one of the ways that possibly could have kept me in a box or held me down or silenced me. Interestingly enough, Mel thought I had a very unique voice and thought it would be great for radio work. So I guess I can take that as a backhanded compliment. But when shit really hit the fan, because it was hard listening to conversations that I had absolutely no experience or interest in. So, say if someone was getting persecuted that I didn't know, the best thing for me to do was to be quiet and let the girls conversate. I'm not here to talk shit about anybody. I'm here to do my own thing. So, when it came time for this whole insane Zen Gardener thing that maybe some of you have heard about. Zen Gardener was a guru of the alternative media. A lot of love and light and happy sayings and ways to improve your life and help yourself. And he had a very large following that, supported him with their energetic currency, which is their vibration, their energy, and also support him financially. So, was some intel came down and it exposed the Zen gardener, and his real name is Don Ferguson. And isn't that something? Because here I live in Ferguson, Missouri, and you think about there are no by chance things. So, anyhow, Mr. Ferguson had been a member of the Children of God cult from the age of 23 to 49. And at that time, he created a new identity, came online, and started his business. So, long story short, people that I trust and know to be true had involvement in this information. And, we're not looking to, kill the messenger, because for real, see, I'm the bitch that told everybody when I came online that this computer, there are no secrets. You can't run and hide. They know everywhere you've been. Oh my goodness, even the intention of why you are where you are. So, anyhow, this caused a lot of trouble at the network because this was a guy that was some big numbers and everybody came to see, like a carnival or a circus or something, right? So, next thing I know, here's my buddy, the guy that got me to broadcast in the first place, getting crucified by these people. And it was pretty angry stuff that was going on. I would even venture as far to say satanic and evil. Now, put yourself in my shoes for a minute. Here you are. You're supposed to be learning something. Instead, you're talking smack and really just biding time and trying to get along and trying to figure out what the hell's going on. I put a lot into my shows. Anybody can look at the Sophia's Emporium shows and tell that I did my research. And here again, we're talking about firsthand experience and a full grasp on the subject matter. So, I could either shut up or speak up. And for people that know me, I spoke up because that's what I do. And at that point, someone that was already very much against me was just coming in, and that's our friend Z. So if I'm watching the boss, Mel, fall in love with this guy and think he's the king shitpin of all the gurus and knows the most of the most and all these things. Well, why am I there? And oh yeah, this dude hates my friend too. So I'm going to tell you, I can't even get my Google Hangout up, right? And here I am involved in a Zoom room. And I find out that Shirley, as boss of the Zoom room, she would have the ability to simply allow us to record Journalism Academy, right? And here again, let's say that I'm giving a seminar or a webinar. I would surely allow any of you to tape or record it, because that way, if you wanted to go back and listen to it, you would have that option. Now, I've dealt with a lot of shit over the years. And I'll tell you where I got the bright idea to turn my movie camera on. Back in the day, there was a crazy woman that had worked for me, a coke addict, cocaine. And she had asked me to shake her out of it if I knew that she was using again. And that's what I did. And that's why she came after me. So this was before cell phones and before caller ID. And while she was giving cops blowjobs, my dad was a cop. So, we were on equal playing ground as far as asking an honest cop to help a sister out. So the cops helped me out. I got a phone tap and I had a week, and they needed over 100 phone calls. So don't get me wrong, I was getting 10 a day. But when you're messing around with numbers, you think, well, I need a bit of insurance. And what I did, it was childish, but not as childish as the stuff I've seen here online or in real life. I went to payphones, got in the car, drove to a payphone, dialed her number because you see at the time she was doing hair and sexual energy work out of her trailer. And, of course, that was a noble endeavor, right? So I'd call her, and when she'd answer the phone, I'd just sit it down and drive away. I mean, I didn't ask her, was a refrigerator running, or make a prank or call her a name. I just tied up her phone line. I got over 150 calls in a week, guys. So here's what I did with Conscious Consumer Network. Since I was already given my consent to be filmed and a tape to be created, I just turned on my own movie camera and went behind the scenes like an investigative reporter would do so people could see the truth. And so if we jump to that list, which I have so many lists here, we have the CCN scam. So you could check out videos like Mel and Biggie Get Pissed, Sophia's Emporium with Sue's, The Christening, which was my debut show when I booked out of CCN. And of course now, see, people are getting charged to broadcast there as much as what any of you could get a membership with Zoom. And then if you had friends or family that had free memberships with Zoom, you guys could all meet and talk and do what we're doing here and even upload it to YouTube. So one thing I've learned is there's a lot of different ways to get the message out. Most people know one or two of those ways. And I knew zero of those ways coming into it. But I have learned a few things, and that's why I thought I'd give this a try tonight. Because, like I said, I just, it really sucks when you give your all to something and you really care and you're doing it for the right reasons, and somebody screws you and takes advantage of you. So we're up over $4,000 on something that I did really just because I love my friends and I wanted to speak out on a lot of the obscenities and the disrespect to the human race, as well as leave a living legacy for my grandchildren. That's a whole other story that we'll, I'm sure, talk about whenever somebody views these things, because you see, as crazy as it is, people like to think that children are happy or that they have rights or that nobody would ever do anything to hurt them. But like I learned on CCN, there's a bunch of freak shows and weirdos out there that just want to make a buck or hurt a child or a woman or even a man. And all of those things are coming to an end as well. This isn't how the world's going to be if it chooses to survive and evolve itself. And every one of you guys are a part of this decision-making process as far as yourself individually. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the videos where you can find out about CCN. We have me and Z and Randy Makes 3. Wait till you see this guy. Now, what he says is everybody has to come into their collective and they will be evaluated. And then, you know, they'll assume their purpose and role inside of this collective. Now, to me, that sounds like a cult, a C-U-L-T. And you know what? Nobody's going to be the boss of me. So here's what I believe, guys. I believe that what we do on an individual basis is what raises this collective consciousness that we are all a part of. And I'll give you another example. So we got this invisible body, you know, the body of Christ, the body of humankind, the collective body. And so we're all likened to these shimmering, translucent orbs, you know, circles. Imagine yourself a cell in this invisible body. So, you know, the cells in the foot do different things than the cells in the brain. And they don't actually hang out together, but they do all need each other. So, you know, we can always find truth. But when we just look a little farther, we realize that truth is nothing but a half-truth, depending on our level of perception at the given time. So, I'm not quite sure what vision they have, you know, as far as their boss of the universe or something. But I do know what my vision is. And of course, it's very real to me. And there's really nothing that can distract me or get me to stop what I am doing. So let's continue with this. We have behind the scenes with my sisters. There's where some big action is. And I'm not telling you you're going to like it. I'm not even going to tell you you're going to be able to understand what the fuck they're saying, because Mel talks like she's on speed when she's not being a professional voice person. You know, it's very erratic and fast and annoying. So it's really hard to tell what's being said. I do make use in my iMovies of the little ticker tape to where I can actually type things in, and that way you can read along and see what's going on. It's a little busy, don't get me wrong, but it's effective. We have Talk on the Wild Side with Mel, which is where I actually respond to her YouTube video. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. They're a television network that's online. They're the biggest global television network that's ever been, but they're only getting ready to be at the end of their second year. I will always believe in the beginning, guys. And you can call me a schmuck. You can call me a sucker. You can call me stupid. I call it extending what I would want someone to extend to me if I am having a conversation. I would want to be taken seriously, and I will believe until I'm given reason not to. At that point, I'll devise a plan. And from there, I will carry out my plan. And that's what you're seeing right now. Actually, you're not seeing it, you're hearing it, right? So hopefully this goes to archives and somebody will hear it. Maybe later I can put some artwork or something to it. It's okay. Now, what's the weirdest thing about this CCN scam, come to find out, is all these people surely tell their stories once they're busted. Now, that's the difference with your buddy Suze. From the minute I came online, I actually disclosed my story. I brought facts, figures, evidence, and statistics. I mean, you really couldn't ask for much more to prove a point. But I think that's probably one of the ways that I really enraged the management. And that surely was never my intention. It was something